Part 1. The Age of Tribute. The Crisis Deepens. Chapter 1. The Captures, 1785 to 1793. The Maria and the Dauphin detail the first major captures by the Barbary corsairs, Tripoli, Algiers, Tunis, Morocco, after the U.S. lost the protection of the British flag following the Revolutionary War. Life in the Bagno. Factual, harrowing description of the prison life in Algiers, the chains, the meager food, the disease, the work on the mole, the massive breakwater construction. Introduce a key American prisoner, perhaps Captain Richard O'Brien, who becomes a central figure in diplomacy. The cost of no protection. Explain why the Barbary states, especially Algiers under the Dey or ruler of Algiers, target American ships. It was a lucrative form of national revenue, not merely piracy. The U.S. was a soft target. Chapter 2. The Shame of Europe. The System of Tribute. Explain the European custom. Major powers like Britain and France paid annual tributes, or bribes, to the Barbary states for peace treaties and safe passage. George Washington's dilemma. The first president is morally appalled, but militarily helpless. The U.S. has no navy. The entire military consists of a small army on the frontier. The political debate is, can a Republican government justify a massive tax to build a navy? Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson famously advocates for war. Millions for defense, but not 1 cent for tribute. Secretary of the Treasury Hamilton focuses on the crippling cost. The Treaty of Peace. The U.S. attempts to negotiate a treaty with Morocco, the first Barbary state, an agreement that requires a lump sum payment. A small victory, but it sets a dangerous precedent for the others. Part 2. The Birth of the Navy. A Republic Reacts. Chapter 3. The Heart Sinking, 1793 to 1794. The Portuguese Barrier. An astounding historical fact. Portugal had been blockading the Strait of Gibraltar, unintentionally protecting U.S. shipping. In 1793, the British brokered a truce between Portugal and Algiers to serve British interests, unleashing the Algerian fleet. The 11 American ships detail the sudden mass capture of 11 American merchant ships and over 100 men in late 1793. The crisis explodes in Philadelphia. Introduce the voice of a prisoner's relative to personalize the crisis for the U.S. audience. The Algerine Warhawks. The public and Congress are galvanized. Cries of "Our brethren in chains" dominate the press. Chapter 4. 6 Frigates and a Leap of Faith, 1794. The Naval Act of 1794. The crucial bill authorizing the building of 6 large frigates, the foundational ships of the U.S. Navy, United States, Constitution, Constellation, etc. The Political Rider. The act is passed with a poison pill. Construction must halt if peace is achieved. This reflects the deep-seated American fear of a standing army or navy. Joshua Humphreys, ship architect. Detail the genius of the designs. These frigates were unlike any in the world, built to be faster and stronger than their opponents. The Constitution, or Old Ironside, is born. Part 3. The Deal with the Devil. Humiliation and Release. Chapter 5. The Humiliating Treaty, 1995. Diplomacy by Desperation. The U.S. sends negotiators to Algiers. The Dey drives a brutal bargain, demanding a staggering sum, over $600,000 in cash, naval stores, and a brand-new 36-gun frigate, the Crescent, as the first payment. The world's highest price. Factual detail. The total cost of the 1795 treaty with Algiers was roughly 1/6 of the entire annual U.S. budget. The U.S. paid more per captive than any European nation. The U.S. flagship of Algiers. The shame of handing over the completed frigate, renamed by the Algerians, is a powerful moment of national embarrassment. This is one of the most astounding facts of the story. Chapter 6. The Long Walk Home. The release and the cost. Describe the moment the American captives, ragged, scarred, and changed, are finally freed. Many have been slaves for over a decade. The legacy of tribute. The other Barbary states, Tripoli, Tunis, immediately demand more tribute. The 1795 treaty, while freeing the American prisoners, effectively established the U.S. as a payer of tribute, setting the stage for future conflict. Part 4. The First Barbary War. Jefferson's Response. Chapter 7. The Pasha's Ultimatum, 1801. The Pasha of Tripoli. The young Pasha, Yusef Karamanli, feeling slighted by the U.S. payments to Algiers, demands an immediate increase in tribute. President Jefferson, the original advocate for war, now has a navy at his disposal. He finally delivers his long-held sentiment, "I answer, not assent." The Declaration of War. Yusef Karamanli symbolically declares war by ordering the flagstaff outside the U.S. consulate in Tripoli to be cut down. This is America's first official foreign war. Chapter 8. The Price of Honor, 1803 to 1804. The Philadelphia Tragedy. Detail the shocking event where the USS Philadelphia, a flagship frigate, runs aground off Tripoli and is captured. Captain Bainbridge and over 300 men are taken prisoner, a crisis on the scale of the first captures. Stephen de Carey's raid. The audacious plan to recapture and burn the Philadelphia to prevent its use by the enemy. Describe the famous quote by Lord Nelson, calling it the most bold and daring act of the age. This is the pinnacle action moment. The prisoner's new reality. The 300-plus American captives are now held as bargaining chips, forcing a stalemate. Chapter 9. To the Shores of Tripoli. The Grand March. Detail the truly wild plan led by William Eaton, the former consul of Tunis, and Presley O'Bannon, a Marine lieutenant. Their idea: march a small army of Marines and local mercenaries, Greeks, Arabs, 500 miles across the desert from Egypt to Tripoli. The Battle of Derna, the first foreign battle on land by the U.S. military. The pivotal moment where O'Bannon and his Marines plant the American flag in Derna. This is the origin of the Marine Corps' hymn line, "To the Shores of Tripoli." Part 5. Legacy, the End of Tribute. Chapter 10. Peace with Honor, 1805 to 1815. The Negotiated Settlement. The U.S. uses the victory at Derna as leverage. They free the 300-plus prisoners for a final cash ransom, but crucially, the U.S. never agrees to pay future annual tribute to Tripoli. The Second Barbary War, 1815, a brief, decisive war after the War of 1812. Stephen de Carey returns, this time with a fully formed navy, and forces the Barbary states to sign treaties forever renouncing the practice of demanding U.S. tribute. The Enduring Legacy. Conclude the story by linking this early struggle to the core American identity. The crisis of the Barbary captives led directly to the birth of the U.S. Navy, the Marine Corps' most famous line, the principle that the U.S. would use military force to protect its citizens and commerce, establishing the nation as a global player rather than a tributary state.